Hi guys, I'm here to take on the near impossible task of deciding which book is better, Anna Karenina or War and Peace. I have old copies of these books right here. I got a Britannica Great Books copy of War and Peace and a Oxford University copy of Anna Karenina. Very old, but smell good, look good, aesthetically pleasing. My favorite copies of the book that I own. But anyways, the big question between these two books is which is the better book? If you didn't see my recent video on War and Peace, I called it better than Anna Karenina. But then I had to sit back and think, and I'm like, well, Anna Karenina did do this better, but War and Peace definitely has higher peaks. But then Anna Karenina, it's better paced. So I had to really think and compare and decide which is the better novel. Well, which one do I personally like better? Anna Karenina by a long shot because it really got me into classic literature. It means a lot to me. It's definitely one of my top 5 favorite books of all time. War and Peace is definitely a top 20 for me, but I definitely connected personally to this one a lot more. But that doesn't change the fact that War and Peace absolutely astounded me with how much it managed to do, how much it managed to balance and achieve, and it really took advantage of its long length and did everything it possibly could, squeezed everything in there, developed it, made it memorable. So there's that as well. So really, I want to talk about what makes both books amazing. So first off, Anna Karenina. This book is definitely more tightly plotted, focused, and better developed because it's not as grand as War and Peace. It's a lot more smaller in scope. Like, yeah, it spans a long amount of time, different parts of Russia, different characters, but definitely a lot less compared to War and Peace. You know, we get to focus on Vronsky, Anna Karenina, Levin, and their characters are well developed, they're well realized, and they're all intriguing. We get to see their everyday lives, the affairs, the atrocity, well, not really atrocities, but adversities that they face. And it's a long book. Like, this one doesn't really paint a good picture. I mean, yeah, it's pretty long, but the other version I have definitely makes it seem a lot longer. But it's a long book, and that longevity isn't a result of any war or large scale battles. It's a result of this very personal and small scale struggle of this one person, this one family, and the affair that's absolutely tearing them apart. And as a result, it manages to develop that stuff a lot better. It's more tightly paced. It's very well paced. It's always moving along, even if it does move along slowly sometimes. And it always gives time to really realistically develop its characters, make you care for them, make you hate some of them. And I also really love how I think compared to War and Peace, well, War and Peace does a great job at painting a picture of battles. I think Anna Karenina does do a better job at bringing life to life. It has a better. It's probably the best book I've ever read when it comes to really emulating reality and life. We really get to see these realistic people. It really feels like you're watching an existence unfold upon these pages. Like an entire lifetime is contained within these pages. I can say the exact same thing for War and Peace, but in a different way. But for this one, Anna Karenina, I love how they don't depict her as this perfect, innocent or victim kind of individual. She's not perfect. She's flawed and she can be unlikable sometimes. But then everyone is like that in the book, except Levin. I love Levin. I can never say anything bad about Levin. I don't care what the haters say. But yeah, Anna Karenina herself is one of the most intriguing and well realized characters I've ever seen in not only classical literature but like just fiction in general. One of the best it's like they don't write female characters like this anymore. Of course, times have changed and they're more focused on making them strong, burly, ultra capable versus back then where they're a lot more realistic. Realistic to the time because obviously women don't live like this anymore. So there's that. But yeah, Anna Karenina is probably the closest any novel I've ever read has come to perfection. It's not perfect, mind you. Even the most perfect book I've ever read isn't perfect. You know, some parts of the farming could get a bit monotonous. Some parts of the lectures could maybe be a bit overbearing. Like, they're intriguing to read. They're well written. I won't deny that. But some of them could be a bit like, okay, yeah, get on with it, get on with it. And War and Peace has that as well. But we'll get to that. But yeah, Anna Karenina is definitely up there as possibly the best book I've ever read. Of course, there's like two other books that I'm considering, and if you don't know, as of right now, I am working on a very big video where I rank every book I've ever read, and you can probably expect Anna Karenina to be for sure in the top 5. But yeah, that's really what Anna Karenina is. It's a lot more focused, tightly packed, tightly paced, closer to perfection. It's the most perfect book. So if you think of it from that standpoint, Anna Karenina is a technically and critically better book than War and Peace. It comes closer to achieving perfection. But with War and Peace, though it may not be as perfect as Anna Karenina, it is a greater book. What do I mean by that? I don't mean greater in like terms of quality, though in some areas yes it is, but I mean that from the sense that it's a much grander, more ambitious, has higher peaks, attains greater things than Anna Karenina. It does more. It does something at such a large scale, yet still manages to really develop and fully realize its characters and its story and their stories over this long runtime, this long page count, and it does so in a way where it doesn't feel like a single page is wasted. Now, yes, some parts of it are slow compared to Anna Karenina. It's much longer. It definitely has a larger scope, which means it doesn't develop its characters to the same degree as Anna Karenina, but the fact that it's able to develop its characters in the way it does is still astounding. It manages to balance multiple families, characters in the military, and it does so with such precision without really messing anything up. Like, yes, parts of it you can say that it's messy, but that doesn't mean that it's not well crafted. Um, Really it all boils down to the ambition behind it. Anna Karenina doesn't feel, I wouldn't say it feels safe, but it's a lot more accessible versus this book. One of the most challenging books I've ever read, but it is the most rewarding I've ever read as well, because it gives you some of the best emotion, most intriguing sequences I've ever read in literature. And it manages to astound you with how much it manages to achieve despite its large scale, how much it manages to develop, that these characters can be as intriguing as they are despite the large scale war going on in the background. They truly feel like people that are affected by this war, that are taking part in it. Kind of like how Anna Karenina does such a great job at depicting life. This one does such a great job at depicting life at war. So it's a greater novel in the sense that it does greater things. It reaches higher peaks. The peaks of this book far outshine the peaks of Anna Karenina, and there are some high peaks in Anna Karenina, but this one, I feel, it commits to the story it wants to tell, and it does so near perfectly. It's not a perfect book, mind you. It's a 10 out of 10 novel, but even 10 out of 10 books aren't perfect per se. This one, there can be a lot longer political lectures and essays and monologues in here that could sometimes be a bit overbearing. There's maybe a few that, okay, get over with, not to the same degree. Actually, yes, to the same degree as Anna Karenina, if not worse. But it's worth it because even those things are well crafted and well realized, much like the rest of the novel. It's just more personally, I'm like, okay, get on with it, get on with it. But yeah, that's really what it is. So I'm not going to give you a set in stone answer for which book is better. Anna Karenina, if you're thinking better from the sense that it comes closer to perfection, has less flaws, Anna Karenina is the better novel. But if you want which one does greater things, has greater peaks, is more ambitious, is manages to astound you in a way that fewer other novels have, War and Peace wins. But either way, these two are easily top 5 books of all time for me, and Yeah, I'm gonna have to make my choice. So you're gonna have to see my choice on which of these books are better in my best novels I've ever read. No, every novel I've ever read ranked. I have to make that choice, unfortunately. Right now, I'm feeling War and Peace, but at the back of my mind, it's telling me Anna Karenina is it's cleaner, it's more perfect, it's more what's the word accessible, and it's better. It's pretty much close. It has less cracks than War and Peace, but at the same time, War and Peace is just I mean, it's War and Peace. What else can I say? Both of these books are fully deserving of the title of greatest novel of all time. So is another couple of books, but we'll get to those in my best books I've ever read. So for now, just know both books are masterpieces. Anna Karenina is closer to perfection, but um, War and Peace does greater things. So yeah, that's the note I'm going to end on, and I'll see you in the next one.